Hello and welcome to the award show. We're hanging out here at the shop. We're going to be using the side yard here this time. What are we doing here? Well, we're giving out our awards for the best mods that we've covered. We're giving out some honorable mentions for some really good mods that just aren't quite there yet. We're giving out some mentions for mods that are just there. We're giving out some dishonorable mentions, and we do have actually some crap awards that we're giving out. And I decided to do it here at the shop for a couple reasons. One, I had to sell everything in the farm. I was having a whole bunch of conflicts. I still have mod conflicts. You're going to see them throughout the mod show. I am not taking away from those mods because of the mod conflicts. This is the end of Hagenstadt as my mod spotlight farm. I'm also having just issues with this Hagenstadt map. I've damaged it in ways, this save game file. So I have to actually expunge it, delete it. We're going to move to a different map. I don't know what yet, but we're going to go somewhere else for season 3 of the mod spotlights. So just be aware of that. What are we going to do? We're going to start with the mods in the uncontested categories, and we have 4. And they actually are quite a range of things out here. Oh, one other thing. There's another uncontested category, and we're going to cover it a little bit separately. The mods from Giant themselves, meaning the Historic Farming Simulator mod pack and the Ursus mod. Okay, I didn't cover the Ursus mod. If I do it, it'll be next season. The Historical Farming Simulator pack is considered its own creature in this show. I am not putting it up against the other mods because I don't feel like it's fair to the unpaid mod authors to go up against Giant, though in many cases they actually do better off than Giant. Alright, so that's out of the way. Let's get started. We're going to start with fertilizer. Yeah, fertilizer. It's a Beefco fertilizer. It's from the small farm pack. I did break that pack up. You know, it's a small, inexpensive fertilizer. Much like last season, it doesn't add a lot to the game, but if you need a small fertilizer for your small farm, it'll work. I don't think it really adds much, though. So in that regard, it's going to get a mention. It does a good job, just nothing spectacular. Next, we have the New Holland Rake. Tedder Rake. It's in a tedder category. I know it's a rake. Anyway, again, from the small farm pack. Same thing does apply here. It's perfect for a small farm. It's perfect for a historical farm. But when you stack it up against the in-game tedders, it doesn't hold a candle to the in-game tedders. They're bigger, they handle the larger fields, and that's what you need in a lot of these maps. Hagenstadt, Big Tony's Hagenstadt, the North Dakota map, the Kansas map, all of that. Big stuff. If you're working small, this would be great. We're not. It's going up against the stuff from in-game. I give it a mention. Both this and the Beefco fertilizer in the category of ye olde time. Ye olde time. I'm putting scare quotes. You can't see it, but I have scare quotes. These both would get an award. Going up even against the stuff from Giant, I'd give them an award. They'd actually be a co-award winner with Giant because these are really nice for the old-time farms. But when you look at the larger scope of the game, they just get mentions. Next comes the Agram straw thingamajiggy that you can jump in. Someone said that there's a straw jet in the game. Yeah, maybe. But I like this one. It had more. And in fact, let's pull up and let's go and look. Feeding tech would be this way to get to it quickly. So we have this, shred bales, distribute the bales in the shed. Okay, that's nice and all, but it's 19,000. I mean, it's going to cost more. Yeah, it's a shredder, but there's something about this one, all the little actions involved with it, the ram to lower the rear and all of that. All of that being said, I'm going to give it an honorable mention. So a step up from just a mention. I'm going to give it an honorable mention. I think it has a great use in a farm. It's cheaper than the in-game one, and it does the same job, which is great. It just doesn't shine above. So we're going to give this one an honorable mention. Next comes this thing. The Terrafelis. Wow. It's just an amazing machine. It's not a harvester per se. It's a loader, though it does show up in beet harvesting when you go to buy it. I never tested it on beets itself because the game just was having all kinds of fits and I had to dump everything off the map. And I actually sold all of my fields, which included the beet field that I was going to harvest. That being said, I really like this mod. The amount of detail, the amount of work that is in this mod alone, just, you get in the mod and turn on the F1 and you hit the numpad 0 and bam, all of this stuff that you get to do. The thing is, the amount of work the mod author had to do all of that is just phenomenal. It's a lot of work. I went and pulled apart the zip file and I looked at all the bits and pieces for this mod. This mod author did a lot of work, and this is a really nice mod for that and that alone. It also works, which is nice also. A lot of times you get these mods, they just don't work. This one worked. It worked really well. It loaded up my trailer of sugar beets. And for that, and for the amount of work that went into it, and the fact that it adds something unique to the game, I'm going to give this one an award. So an award for the Homer Terrafelis beet and potato loader. I'm pretty sure you can get potatoes as well. Didn't test it, but y'all will tell me if I got that wrong. An honorable mention to the Agram straw blower, and a mention in the larger game, but an award in the old time aspect for the Beefco fertilizer and the New Holland rake. So we're going to come back with our first contested mod category and see what we got there. Welcome to one of the large small categories. Small because there's only 2 mods competing against the returner, and large because it's some really big pieces of equipment here. The returning champions are parked over here in any mod spot, in any categories that have a returning champion. The cat Lexions from season 1. Y'all that have been watching my Kansas Let's Play know that these things are gas guzzling monsters, but they do their job and they do their job well, and they have a few little gizmos and whatsits and who'sits to make them interesting. This season we introduced 2, really 3, but the third was actually part of the historical farming pack from Giant, so it doesn't fall into this. We introduced the class Lexion 770 TerraTrack and the little Potner Mex OK or 0K. I'm really not sure whether that's supposed to be an O or a 0. Anyway, let's start with that one. I hooked it up to the Hurleyman to just get the pipe out. It is just nothing more than a single row corn head. That's it. You've got a hitch back here that you can hook up to a trailer. It's great if you're just starting out in corn, and you're just wanting to do a little bit of cutting, really, and that's really all it's there for. Again, it's one of those that's great if you have an old-timey farm, but not so great if you're running anything big. So I'm going to give it an honorable mention. Yeah, I'll give it an honorable mention. It does a good job. It sounds really neat. Let's start up the Hurleyman here and turn this on. That sound, I mean, the sound of the mechs turning on, That's great. I mean, and that really is what makes it. Little things like that push it into the honorable mention category. Makes you think you might need to oil your belt on that. All right, so let's move on to the big showdown between the class Lexion 770 TerraTrack and the cat Lexion 580 and 590R. Now, first we'll start with the cornhead. The cornheads are exactly the same size. They're basically the same bloody thing with a different color scheme on them. That's fine. Good. The grain head is larger on the TerraTrack than on the 580, 590. They are interchangeable, though you kind of have to be careful with the pipe out, whether it will work. But the TerraTrack has a few other gizmos, who's its and what's its. So the first gizmo, who's it or what's it, really is when you get inside, you have an IC that allows me to actually click on things. So I can activate my chopper or unfold my pipe. And it's little things like that. I mean, that's cool. And then there's my additional cameras. Okay, so let's start her up. Again, the engine sounds really nice. So let's go cam 1. I can look behind me. I can look off my pipe, off a hitch, and then off the two ends of my grain head. That's huge. That is just a great use of modding and knowing what you're doing with your mod. And then after you get your cam set, maybe running down the left side there, you can turn your IC off and your camera just stays there. And that's really nice. And you start it up, you get that moment where it's just starting to rotate. Yes, I know you're gonna raise. I didn't want you to raise. I want you to go back down. There. Okay. So now we'll turn that off and we'll get out. So additionally, it has a slightly bigger grain tank. It's 350 liters more in grain tank. Massive more fuel tank. I did drive it around a bunch, and it's not the most fuel efficient. I mean, it's no Prius, but it's better than these two gas hogs. And really, it comes down to the little things, and it's the camera. The camera really wins me over with this thing. It makes these two look like, you know, they're really nice, but they're not that nice. So if we start up this cat here and get it on the right device there, if I start this up, it immediately starts at full speed, and that's really, to me, another difference. You get the feeling with the TerraTrack that it's a real tractor. It's really going to work the way it would if I had one of these parked in my backyard. If I had one parked in my backyard, there'd be other problems, but mainly with my HOA. Anyway, so the class Lexion 770 TerraTrack definitely gets an award. It has beaten down these two cats. They are going to sulk away with their tails between their legs, and not to disparage them. They're really great, and if you do not have the manual ignition mod, the fuel flow is fine on them. It's really the manual ignition mod makes it worse. So if you're looking for I can't believe I'm about to say medium size, but basically a medium size decent harvester mod, these cats will fit the bill for you. If you're looking for a nice big harvester mod and you've got the room on your farm, Kansas, then this Lexion 770 TerraTrack is definitely for you, and I would recommend it. It does win the award, and it displaces the cats as the category champion. We'll see if it holds its position after Season 3. All right, we'll be back with our next cat. Oh, the Potner. The Potner got an honorable mention. We'll be back with our next category. All right, so this next category, as I was building this category out, I realized that I had added something into the harvester category that didn't matter. That wasn't technically a harvester. It was a forager. That was the Potner Mex. It is actually here along with the rest of the foragers. It's down there at the end. Its position doesn't change. It's still an honorable mention. it does a really good job. I still love the sound on it, but it's a forager, not a true harvester. That being said, honorable mention to the Botner Mechs. Still, just in the right category this time. All right, so what we have here is basically the champion from last season. It is the kid from NI Modding, the double chop forage harvester. You've seen me use this on the Kansas Let's Play. It's a good little device. It is little though, and that does pose some problem. Now what we have this time though are definite corn harvesters, heavily corn harvesters, though the fourth grit kind of is something else, and this is also something else. So let's start with these two Jaguars. There's the 880, and this would be the 685. Yeah, both of them. I actually am going to give both of this. I mean, you're going to scream, but anyway, I'm going to give both of them a dishonorable mention. I don't like the camera on either of them. You end up with the camera embedded in the 685, and the camera just feels wrong on the 8 whatever that's in front of me here. There's no real extra features, and what annoys me more than anything else is this is how the head comes in. When you reset it, this is how it ends up. Do you have any idea how hard it is to hook up a device when your head is facing the wrong direction? Okay, the only way I was ever able to get it to work was to run it over with a tractor. That's not right. And the reason is it is dropped from up in space and it comes down and it lands, and then its weight is such that it pulls it back like this. No. You know, just no. If that was fixed, maybe I'd consider moving up to a mention, maybe. They basically come with the same head. That head is interchangeable between the two of them. It actually overwrote, I think, in my mod file, these two. So, yeah, just a dishonorable mention for these two Jaguars. I'm not a fan. Don't like them. The Force Grit. It has a turning radius of the moon to begin with. And other than that, it's not too bad. It does the job you want it to do. It cuts down whatever you want to cut down. You can use it to cut down your grains to turn into hay, or you can use it to cut down your corn or whatever you want to cut down with it. The one thing that I find odd about it is it just feels out of place. And there's no like extra who's its or what's its or features with it. I mean, there isn't much in a Force Grit anyway, but there's just not a lot to really make it stand out. However, it doesn't have the same level of problems. See, I can't clip all the way through it. In fact, the only place I can clip through, and I actually walked over it there, I actually felt my guy go up. The place I can walk through is in the wheels. We've discussed why you often can walk through the wheels in this game. So I'm going to give it an honorable mention with an asterisk, because the turning radius is that of the moon and its usefulness is extremely limited. It can really do one thing. I really don't like unitaskers. So there you go. Honorable mention for this Force Grit. The partner still gets an honorable mention. It gets it mainly because of the sound, the small little attentions to detail that I didn't see in any of these others. I did see in the kid, but I've come to expect that from NI Modding. Now, the easy flow. I really like the easy flow. I know why it didn't work in the mod spotlight I did. It's because I had the hitch on the back of the whatever that thing is. But that being said, it is great because it allows me to multitask. It allows me to use one very expensive piece of machinery for multiple things. So you get that really expensive, where's the little bugger? Jeez. Really expensive. The Crone Forage Harvester. $395,000. I have $41,000 for a head, another $20,000 for a direct cut system. That's great. So I can do grass and I can do corn, but what about all of the wheat chaff? This big head here be perfect for handling all of the straw that comes off of barley and wheat on a large field, Kansas. And I like that. It allows me a third use for a basically $400,000 piece of equipment, and that's really nice, and it works. So I'm going to give an award to the Krone Easy Flow. This happens to be V1. The V2 is already out. It cleans up some of the small problems that were in this. Not physical problems, but more problems on the side of the logs with some different issues there. So an award for the Krone Easy Flow, a honorable mention for the Potner Mex, an honorable mention with a asterisk thing for the Force Grit. I'm not sold on it, but it does as advertised. I guess technically that would make it a mention, wouldn't it? Yeah, let's call it a mention. Change my mind. It's a mention. Mention for the Force Grit. These two ding-dongs get a dishonorable mention. I don't like them. I don't like the fact that that head does that every time I try to use it. I don't like the camera angles on them. They don't have anything extra really to jump out and bite me and make me go, wow, that's neat. So I'm not too pleased with them. So the Krone Easy Flow versus the Kid. Now this is where it gets difficult, because now does that Krone Easy Flow make the Kid sulk away like those cat Lexion harvesters had to sulk away? I don't think so. I think they would complement each other on a farm. The Kid would be great for small tasks, whereas that Easy Flow head is great when you have the money for $400,000 of equipment and have large fields. So I don't think the Easy Flow replaces the Kid at the top of the mod chain for foragers. I think it supplements it. So the Krone Easy Flow and the Kid Harvester will actually go forward into Season 3 as kind of a joint holders of the title of Best Forage Harvester. Cool. All right, we'll be back. I'm gonna cycle this over to daytime, and then we'll be back for the next category. We've driven up here for our next category, which is the Placeable Mods category. Now, last season's winners are over here. This is the Anti-Modding Shed Pack. You saw me use these consistently throughout the season. I really do like them. They add a lot to the game, and for someone like me who likes to make sure everything is undercover, just because that's how I grew up and that's what we always had to do, put the equipment away, these were really important for me to have, and I really do like them, and I still do like them. This one here, this one, these two are really nice because it's easy to get stuff in and out. The downfall is that the larger pieces of equipment have a little bit of trouble with some of this. This one, I think I used once for a front loader, but you can barely fit the front loader between the entrance, so it was kind of a difficult thing. This one over here, now you saw me use this on the mod farm because I could, park a bunch of tractors in here. It took me forever to get them all situated the way I wanted in here. It doesn't feel that useful because it's so hard to get stuff in and out, but they're still a really nice pack, and I do like them. Now they have some competition this year from several different angles, so we're going to start, we'll start with these. This is the speed camera mod. Someone asked me to do this. I don't know why they asked me to do this. It was in the very first episode of this season. You pay to place the speed camera, and then you get fined if you drive too fast past the speed camera, and it's really expensive fines. Yeah, they don't add anything. They don't do anything to the game. I guess if you want it to be ultra realistic, I don't want it to be ultra realistic in the sense that I pay to place the camera and then I pay when I go buy the camera. I'd like to place the camera and find every single one of the AI cars that go by. That would be good. I could get behind that. As it is, this is just a mention. I could see using it if you're building a map, maybe, but not as a mod to put into your game. It doesn't make any sense. Next, we have the straw power plant. Now, this actually is loud when you get too close. Well, not too loud. This is actually a pretty decent little mod. The downside to this versus your regular straw sale point is you actually have to pay maintenance on this power plant. However, you get the same price for the straw and the straw bales and the hay bales. And because it doesn't have a roof on it, like your normal sell point, it's easier to place really tall stacks, like the Cruisin' Round Bale auto stacker. It has a very tall stack, and that can cause problems when you have the roof of the selling point that you have normally. So this is really great for that. And if you have a lot of bales, you're selling a lot of bales, this could be useful. It would have been really smart for me in Kansas when I was doing bale hockey to bale hockey into this versus into the sale point. But there you go. I'm actually going to give this one an honorable mention. It doesn't really add anything to the game, but it does add something to the game. It doesn't add something you don't already have, but it adds another way to accomplish your task. So for that, I do like it. Additionally, you could put this way out far away from your straw and bale sell point and have another sell point. And that, for that, honorable mention for the straw power plant. I'm going to skip that because that's going to take a minute. We're gonna run over here to the grill. This was just a fun mod. I got it for no reason other than I don't remember why, honestly. I mean, it's nothing more than a grill. It costs you a couple $100, I think. And it has some meat on there, some sausages and some steaks. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't add anything, but I'm going to give it a mention because, again, if you're making a map or you just want something kind of fun, this qualifies in that category for me. So I'll mention for the grill mod thing. Let's talk about the water tower. The water tower was another one of those really cheap mods. It's $1,000 to buy this tower. And very useful in my opinion. Now, you still pay for the water that comes out of the water tower. But if you're on a big map where there's not a lot of water points, this can come in handy. There's parts of the Kansas map I've noticed that if I needed water, I would have to truck the water a long ways. This allows me not to truck water a long ways. And I'll tell you what else I did with this is on this mod map before I sold everything. I had greenhouses out by the cows because it was close for the manure. But you have to go a little distance to get water. Well, to solve that problem, I put this water tower right next to the greenhouses, and then it was like no trip whatsoever. So it was useful in that respect, and I do think it's a decent mod. I'm going to give it an honorable mention. I think it's a good mod. It does what it's supposed to do. It does add something to the game. But is it really, really spectacular? No, not really. That leaves us with two mods here. And really it's the chicken coop, the Morton shed versus, well, these two versus the anti-modding sheds. The chicken coop, oh, this chicken coop mod is just so awesome. You get eggs, which apparently I have eggs in here. Huh, who knows? Your eggs are stored in the chicken coop instead of all over the place, which is great. You can pick them all up. Excellent. Saves me from walking around, and it makes a lot of sense. I mean, the pigeons that we had a coop that they go into, and they'd lay their eggs in the coop. They wouldn't lay their eggs all over Tarnation. Chickens, I don't think there's a lot of chickens that are going to go running around laying their eggs because those are their babies. If we left them alone and didn't nom their tasty Naminess. But here in Hagenstadt, without this mod, you've got eggs everywhere and you have to play hide and seek, and I'm not a big fan of Easter egg hunts. So this mod is really nice and really helpful. The Morton shed. The Morton shed is just awesome. There's so many little things about the shed. You walk up and you press N and your door opens. That's cool. You don't want to do that, you can go in the side door here. See, N? Yeah, N. And you open up the side door. If I'm in here somewhere, there's a light switch. Let me turn on my F1. I can't remember the operate lights. M. So I've turned on the outside lights. That's really neat. And you can walk through the entire building. Let's turn on some lights. Let's open up a door. I mean, there's a little bit of strangeness in the way the lights work in here, but still, we're talking a really nice shed. You've got a drive-through area, which is great because you can drive stuff through versus having to open door. Ah, there it is. Operate door. Duh. You can drive things through versus having to deal with all the backing up and such that you get in the NI modding sheds. Oh, these lights don't come on, huh? M. There, those lights are on. Open. And open. There we go. So it's a really neat shed. It has a lot of room in it. You can park all of your big equipment in here. And the fact that you can walk through it, I think that's really cool. You just stroll through your shed to get to the right area. That's neat. I like that. And it's a really neat shed. It is very big though, so you do need a big map or a big area for it. But how does it stack up against the chicken coop and against the NI modding sheds? And I think that you know what I'm going to say here, the NI modding sheds with the Morton shed, with the chicken coop, all get awards. All three of them will go on to compete next time. They're all worthwhile. The NI modding sheds really cover the small usage. They're cheap. You can use them just about anywhere, kind of squeeze them into small spaces, and they're great little sheds. Once you need the big shed, the Morton shed takes the cake. It is a great large shed. And then the chicken coop, well, I don't need to explain why I love the chicken coop anymore than I already have. So there you go. We have a triple award category here. We've got the NI modding sheds, the Morton shed, and the chicken coop sharing the award. The straw power plant in the water tower getting honorable mentions. The grill and the speed camera getting just mentions. They do what they're supposed to, just not amazing. All right, let's run down to the back down to the store and find our next category.